Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. My name is Joe Sked, editor of Hearts Standard, and it's just me. I have decided to just do a one-man show tonight because of reasons. And those reasons are we're not even 3 days into the January transfer window. Plenty has been happening so far. So I thought it would be appropriate just to jump on and talk about the 2 or 3 deals that have happened or in the process of happening, and then a couple of other wee bits and bobs that have been kicking around. This should hopefully be a quick episode, but we will see. I will, before I get into it, I will read out a sponsor from a message from our sponsors, who are Good Vibes Giveaways, who are proud to sponsor Hearts Standard and offer fantastic prizes to fans of the club. Prizes change weekly and include tech gadgets, days out, weekends away, tax-free cash, and even OASIS tickets, if they're still kicking about. Get your tickets now at www.goodvibesgiveaways.com and enter for your chance to spread the good vibes. Now, I will... Since I'm doing this on my own, I won't be paying too much attention to the comments as I speak, but I will come back to them at the end or have a break at each kind of interval and see if I can bring them in if I haven't already answered any questions that people have asked. Just jumping straight into it, I suppose one of the biggest positives so far is early business, and it's clear that Hearts are trying to get their business done really early, which is probably needed. That's the position the team are in the Scottish Premiership. Yesterday's 1-0 win over Motherwell certainly helped, but Hearts still remain 11th going into Sunday's game at Dundee United. You look at it, when teams are doing well midway through the season, they can afford to maybe take it a bit easier in January and maybe bide their time, wait and see. Obviously, they'll have specific targets. Someone might come available that they really want to pounce on, but normally, if you're doing really well, there's less pressure to do business in a month that is actually hard to do business in. Hearts, unfortunately, are not in that position, so it's meant that work has had to be done in the weeks and the months leading up to it, as clubs always do, but I think it's been more pressing for Hearts. So like kind of targets have been identified early and been worked on early. And Elton Kabangu was the first to arrive on loan from Union Saint-Gilloise. It helps that he is he's a player who's at a club who have a partnership with Jamestown Analytics. It's not quite worked out for at USG for Kabangu, but hopefully Hearts will be able to benefit from what Jamestown Analytics saw from him when he was at Willem II, when he had a really excellent season in the second tier of Dutch football. You can obviously go into Hearts Standard and read Tom Irving's breakdown of what he expects from the striker. I know he can play wide, but I think Hearts see him as an out-and-out striker. Tom certainly sees him with that, with his movement, his constant running, both when Hearts have possession and also out of possession, his work that he puts in, but also the positions he wants to put himself in when the ball's wide or when someone like Spittle's on it and he can run in behind and hopefully create chances with those runs or score goals, certainly. Hearts were still working on a work permit ahead of the game against Motherwell on Sunday. He just couldn't quite make it in time for Kabangu to be involved, but he should hopefully be in line to be involved against United on Sunday. More pressing now with Shankland's injury. What did Neil Critchley said? Oh yeah, he said it was going to be. He said it'd be weeks that Shankland would be out. So that becomes all more important. Not so much just replacing Shankland. It's more about providing a bit more depth. You look at it at the moment. Liam Boyce and James Wilson have built a quite a good relationship, a partnership in the last 2 games. Been really impressed with Boyce, considering he's kind of been written off him. He has not started. I think he didn't have a start until you had to go back to maybe August, September, if you're lucky, for his last start. But he's done really well for having missed, having not had a run of games after a long-term injury. So yeah, they two are the kind of stick on front pairing at the moment. But at least Kabangu provides another option, something a bit different in attack as well, and lessens the burden on Wilson. That's something that Critchley noted on in his post-match press conference. Which moves me on to the second arrival, and that's set to be Jamie McCart. I think this has been His name's been mentioned on social media, on forums, by fans for a while. The left-sided centre-back has agreed a pre-contract contract, but Hearts are looking to bring that forward to that deal forward to January. We reported yesterday in Hearts Standard that expected to be done in the next 48 to 72 hours. So yeah, I would expect that to go through sooner rather than later. I think even news reported today it was fee had been agreed at £70,000. So that kind of just hastens his arrival to Hearts. Now, McCart, 27-year-old, he's a player that I really liked at St Johnstone. Kind of individually and collectively, he played on the left of a back three. He won the Scottish League Cup double with St Johnstone, and him, Liam Gordon, and Jason Kerr had a really good balance and relationship within their back three. That kind of lost its way somewhat in McCart's final season because Kerr left and he went down south, and McCart, speaking to St Johnstone fans, speaking to Ed Nicholson, who covers the Courier, he noted that there was a drop-off in that final season, but he kind of recovered and he played a key role towards the end in helping St Johnstone keep their place in the Premiership. He's went down to Rotherham United. He's not been a regular there over these past 3 seasons. He's been on more at Leyton Orient and Barnsley, and he's actually played more, I think, this season for Rotherham than he's in his previous couple of seasons. So he can come in and he's been playing, so it's not like he needs time to get up to speed. And the good thing is, the positive I look at him is he's a player who knows the league well and should take little time to adapt. There's nothing that's really going to face him coming into the Scottish Premiership, but we'll see when he comes in. But he certainly looks and kind of fills the void that could be left by Kye Rowles, which brings us on to the Australian, who is on the verge of a move away. From what I understand, the negotiations have been taking place and a fee has been agreed, although it's more likely the deal will go through later in the window. I don't think it's one that's going to be immediate, that's for sure. It's reported he's heading to DC United and it's going to be for £600,000. Now, Rowles is someone who has split opinion, and I think that could be seen from the reaction on social media, both in terms of the sale and the reported fee. I personally, I like Rowles. I think he's a good defender and a good player. And bear with me before I'm just going to get some stats up here because I was. Which are relevant when I'm about to something I'm about to go and talk about. Yeah, like I said, I think he's a good defender and a good player, but he's hindered. I think has been hindered in the Scottish Premiership, the Scottish football in general, by the physical aspect. He's never quite adapted consistently to the hustle and bustle of our game, and that's something that's been pretty obvious. He's talked about it before. I think Stephen Naismith's talked about it, that it's something that he's had to be work on and build on, and it's still an area of his game that has let him down in the past. I think he's a great defender on the ground. I'm just getting some stats up here to paint a picture, but it's taking ages to load, obviously, as is the way every time I come on here. So I put up a tweet earlier on today just about Craig Halkett. Is this the one here? Yeah, it's the right one. So yeah, nope. Come on, Joe. Be better than this. Where is it? Craig Halkett. Yeah. So I just put on just a bit about Craig Halkett, and he's kind of back to his aerial. His aerial best, and how his aerial win percentage is 75%, 6.88 aerial wins per 90 minutes. So you compare that to other defenders. Frankie Kemp, 69% aerial win percentage, and he aerial wins 4.67 per 90 minutes. Is Stephen Kingsley about here? No, he's not played enough minutes. So yeah, you look at those two guys who can win their physical battles, win the ball in there. You look at Kye Rowles, 53% aerial win percent, and he wins 3.39 joules per 90 minutes in the air. But then, so that looks at that side of things. We all know, we've watched him, that he's not the most dominant in there. But where I think he is He provides balances, his pace in the defence, and I think he's a really good one-on-one defender on the deck. And he is. You look at all the defenders that Hearts have, and no one gets dribbled past less. So very few players get past Kye Rowles on the deck compared to his teammates. So there's two sides to his game, and I just think it's been unfortunate. There's not really. It's never improved significantly in terms of the physicality of it, but I've no doubt that on the deck, we've seen it at the World Cup when he was away with Australia that he looked so at ease. And I look at, if he goes to MLS, I've not wanted to denigrate MLS, but I think he will suit that. I think he'll stroll that league, suit it really well, and I think he'll show up really well. I suppose there's an element of disappointment from some, just going by social media and speaking to fans, speaking to mates, is on the fee reported. And some people are happy with the fee, some people are disappointed. And I would probably say, the reported fee, I would probably say I'm in the disappointed category, just because I think all of us had cartoon pound signs in our eyes when he got back from the World Cup, where he performed really well. I remember him up against Kylian Mbappe, and he didn't look out of place. And we then Hearts then signed him on a long-term deal, and you just thought he's going to make Hearts a lot of money, and it's just not been that consistency to do that. But yeah, let's see how that progresses, and hopefully find out more kind of details of the deal and whether Hearts can benefit from it in future. But like I said, that's not going to be an immediate deal. That could be another couple of weeks potentially into the window. So we'll see how that goes. Another player who has actually left is Callum Sandilands. He has gone on loan to Montrose for the rest of the season. It's a move that makes complete sense. I think he is. He's a player that I really like, and I think it's been unfortunate that he's not got the minutes that his form, or minutes or the exposure in the first team that his form in the B team has warranted. You look at him, I think he's played 82 games. I think it's for the B team. Majority of those in the lower league, of course, and he's had 50 goal involvements. You look at him; he's a goal scoring midfielder, and we all know how hard those players are hard to come by. You look at two of the most favourite midfielders, fans' favourite midfielders over the last 20, 25, 30 years. Colin Cameron and Paul Hartley, goal-scoring midfielders who can break into the box and provide a threat. Callum Sandilands does that. But if he's not going to get minutes in the first team, they're going to be restricted. He's reached a point in the loan league where he's probably completed it, you could say. And what will be benefit of him is getting first-team football, but higher, consistent first-team football, but higher up the pyramid. Montrose is a really good club for him to go to. The great club with great people. Manager Stuart Petrie is one of the best managers in part-time football, and he's done great with Montrose. They're always under Petrie. They're always pushing to get into the playoffs in League One and pushing for kind of promotion to the Championship. That's what Sandilands will be going into. They hope that he's going to provide a bit more, give them some more attacking threat. He's going to be surrounded by a lot of experience, but also Montrose are a good club to go to because they are proven to have developed players who've been on loan. I spoke to someone who works at, someone messaged me today who works at Montrose, and he mentioned Lyle Cameron at Dundee, Luke Graham, and Miller Thompson at Dundee United as well. So guys who've gone there and got minutes and developed and done really well. So yeah, I think it's a really good move for Sandilands, and because Montrose are part-time, he'll still be training with Hearts a couple of times a season. It's a couple of times a season, a couple of times a week as well. So there's still that connection. Moving on to, we'll talk about Sandilands, and another interesting young player note is Ethan Drysdale. We mentioned it kind of slightly yesterday on the reaction video after the Motherwell game. Neil Critchley talked about it. Craig asked him about if they're in the market for a left-sided defender, if Andrea Salazar goes, which he is going. He's going to return to Atletico Nacional. That'll be announced in the coming days. Actually did mention Rowles kind of fitting in there, but he also mentioned Ethan Drysdale, and I tweeted something today, just a piece from the B team, the last B team game I went to, Civil Service Strollers. Ethan Drysdale played 45 minutes. Really promising, highly rated left back, and unfortunately, I was going to go to the B team game tonight. They were due to play Civil Service Strollers again, this time at Ainsley Park. However, that's been postponed, which is unfortunate because I think they were looking and hoping for Drysdale to get more minutes. He's played. He came on for the last half hour of a game a couple of weeks ago, and then he played the first half against Civil Service, and it's just building that match sharpness, match fitness up. So yeah, that's the situation with him. It's unfortunate the B team game's been called off, but he looks like he's going to be the next one that potentially makes that jump. He could be like Forrester, and just if things go right in the second half of the season and he gets his opportunity, hopefully he'll take it. And he's someone who, again, has got there's a lot of high hopes, and it's unfortunate he got injured in Leighton Orient friendly so early on. It was like 3 minutes in, got replaced by Kenzie Nair. So it was unfortunate the seasons went the way it has, but there still could be a chance for Drysdale to be involved once more. And I suppose the last thing to note before looking at the comments and see if there's anything that needs to be noted is future more signings come in. So McCart and I don't believe McCart and Kabangu will be the last additions this window. I know fans will have their own view on what else Hearts need and how many players Hearts need. It's something going up tomorrow from Tom. He's looked at 3 positions: centre-back, forward and winger, of potential options that he's come across on his kind of in his day job of analysing and scouting him, what he's looked for and what Hearts could benefit from. I think although the club are still in the process of adding players to the squad, in talks with some targets. As for who, not too sure, but I know there's stuff going on in the background regarding potential other defender, and then I think the other focus will be on a wide man. So the good thing is Hearts, it's 3 days in, and we're already talking about 2 transfers coming in, a young player going out on loan for some much needed minutes, and then we've still got another 31 days, or 30 days, where Hearts can bring in more. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be at least 4 additions in January. That's what I would expect at the very least. The 2 that have already, Kabunga, so I'm going to make that mistake so many times, Kabangu, McCart, and then 2 others, one of which I think will be a defender, one of which will be a wide player, I'd imagine. And then after that, we'll see who gets added. But again, as I reiterated on a previous show, it's a transfer window and it's very rarely straightforward. And Neil Critchley mentioned that yesterday when he talked about potential incomings, where he said the ones you think you've got in turn out to be the hardest, and then the ones you think are going to be the hardest are going to be the most difficult. So, Old Reedy Sonny Rocker says, should Sandilands have been putting around the first team and emptied Vargas? Well, Sandilands and Vargas are 2 very different players. So again, I'm patient. I would hope that there's still more to come from Vargas. He can work through his poor form, and hopefully in the second half of the season we can see a bit more from him. But yes, Sandilands is someone who there's been a couple of times this season where I think the team could have benefited from him, but again, it's a big decision to play him. I would have probably liked to see him a bit more, but I do think this loan move is very, very good. Neuenhof news. That's one I've not, just because we've not had pre-match press conferences recently, not asked about that, but it was expected to be back early in the new year. Hopefully find out more on Sunday against Dundee United. The Gorgie Boy podcast, Graham from the Gorgie Boys podcast says, evening Joe, I'm still hoping for 2 wide players with pace, a more physical striker. Kabangu gives us pace but could do with more physicality, also a playmaker in midfield. Yeah, I think everyone would agree with your assessment, Graham. I would imagine that hopefully we'd bring in one wide player with pace. I am on board with a physical striker. I think someone like, mentioned that before, someone like Sam Dalby at Dundee United, just someone who gives you a more variation, especially in Scottish football. And yeah, playmaking in midfield is something I think fans would look at again. However, I would imagine that making so many additions in January, they might look to, I think probably looked at priorities in this January, and then longer term, maybe towards the summer. Any inkling on possible fee for Kabangu? I'm afraid, William, I'm not aware of any at the moment. Is a figure of 600k lower than we would have expected? Yeah, I've kind of covered that there, Jim, on just with, I think everyone expected Rowles to originally to come in and after the World Cup and net us millions and millions of pounds, but it's not quite worked out like that. Yeah, James Allen asked, do you think the rumoured 600k fee for Rowles is yet more bad business from Hearts? Again, just repeat myself, but I think more kind of disappointment that just after the World Cup that he had, that it didn't kick on and have the consistency, like that level of performance consistently, and then that which brings the interest and the fees that come with it. Does it represent maybe the kind of inconsistency potentially? So again, it's, you can only really sell a player for, I mean, what teams are going to pay you for. So yeah, I think some would say it's good business, some would say it's bad business. And yeah, there's a few mentions of the boy from Hull, Ryan Longman. Again, that's been talked quite a bit. I've not any information on that, so I can't say much more than that. And George asks, still think we need another striker? Was it just a rumour regarding Armstrong from Kilmarnock? I think there might be an initial interest in Armstrong, but nothing that progressed to anything concrete is probably the best way to put it. I will leave it there. I was only going to plan to do 10, 12 minutes, done 22. So yeah, apologies for no doubt rambling as usual. I think we'll probably have these episodes quite regularly throughout the January transfer window, just as and when things happen. I'll probably most likely be joined by Craig for most of them, or other guests. But until the next time, we'll be back on Sunday for the Dundee United game, hopefully talking about another win. There'll be a few things going up over on the site over the weekend and reacting to any transfer news as and when it happens. But yes, until the next time, thank you very much, everyone, for continuing to subscribe, to engage, to listen, watch these videos. Very much appreciated. Have a very good weekend, and I will speak to you again. Goodbye.